And welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by the Topoco Lodge. And there's nothing like a river release weekend at the Lodge. When the Cheoah River is up and the rapids are rushing, the Topoco Lodge is just absolutely unbeatable. Plus you get fall foliage. All that, I point that out because September 5th is the next river release weekend at the Topoco Lodge. Learn more at topoco.com. Learn more at their Facebook page. You go to their Facebook page and you're going to want to go up there because it's beautiful. They got pictures of the place. I'm telling you, you'll be very impressed with the Topoco Lodge. If you've never been up there, great place to eat at the Topoco Tavern. Got to make reservations, but it's a terrific place, the Topoco Lodge. Okay, before we let Mark get out of here, Yves Pons, we're still waiting on a decision. The date is tomorrow, but he hasn't made any kind of move one way or the other. One, do you think he goes or stays? Two, the bigger part, if he goes, what's it mean for this Tennessee team?
Well, I think he stays, but the reason why I think it is a real debate of if he goes or not is because this draft class is just so much weaker. I think you're going to have more guys coming back, and then you look at the guys coming up, the guys coming in that are going to be freshmen this year on college campuses. Next year's just going to be a loaded draft class, and so his chance to get drafted is higher this year than I'd think it would be next year. But I still, with that said, I still think he comes back. With him coming back, I mean, Tennessee's ceiling is so high with the depth that we'll have. His ability on both ends of the floor to make an impact. I keep going back to every year of what Barnes and his staff has done with the development of his players. If he can continue to develop that offensive game, I mean, he's got a chance to be drafted after next year. But I do think he'll come back this year.
And he has been invited to the NBA Combine, which takes place about a month from now, I think. So that was a little bit of a surprise that he got the Combine invite. And this past week, for the first time, I saw him in a mock draft. Now, granted, he was between that 50 to 60 range at the end of the draft, but he was in it. If he goes, Tennessee will have to replace the reigning SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Jimmy, it's hard to predict anything with this team because there's so many new parts, not only the incoming freshmen who supposedly look good, but you've also got the transfers like Victor Bailey coming in that you didn't see last year. Talent-wise, you look at this pool, it's like, this is going to be a great year, if there is a year. But in terms of how it all meshes together, we're all just kind of playing with dreams in our head. I mean, there's no way to know how it fits together, with or without Pons.
I love the new parts now. I'll say that. There are a lot of new parts, but I love them. The freshmen coming in, Victor Bailey. In fact, I think Victor Bailey will be one of the starters. And we have seen teams like Kentucky that have had a lot of new parts come in and they mesh together. And that's going to be one of the key things for Rick Barnes and his staff is to get that chemistry together and get them playing on the same page. But I'm very optimistic about this basketball team. I don't know about the season, but this team I think has great potential, and I think they'll be a top 10 team. I think they have all the ability in the world. They've got a lot of pieces in place, and if Pons does. And here's the thing too, and Mark, you may be right in terms of the draft, the level of the drafted players. But I think if he goes from a 10-point scorer to a 15 or 16-point scorer, I think that really enhances his draft ability as well. So I think if he takes that next step as an offensive player, I think he'll get drafted.
Yeah, you would think he needs to improve his overall game. I mean, we know he's the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. I'd also suggest that he talk to Admiral Schofield, Grant Williams, see what kind of advice they may have. But I think it's in his best interest to get back because we talked about this before. What if he declares and then doesn't get drafted? I mean, then are you looking at going to Europe, or are you looking at some other kind? There's a chance he would not get drafted.
And that's what you don't know is that we're talking about a kid from Europe. Is he looking to get back? Would he be okay with going back there? In a normal circumstance, is he one of those guys that would say, hey, I can make $250,000 a year playing over there? But these aren't normal circumstances. Right. We don't know which European leagues are going to be playing. There's just so much. Are you safer to go now because of the draft status, or are you safer to stay and try and work yourself up when next year's draft could be tougher? I feel sorry. This isn't the year you want to be making this decision.
Right. And real quick on something that Jimmy said, one thing that's interesting, I think, is you got to sell the kid on, which is, I'm not selling, but it's real, of because they are more talented, it might not be the point total, but it's, are you shooting a better percentage from three? Yeah. Are you getting more assists because now you're able to take the ball off the dribble, which not his best skill set now. And so, because I don't think there's going to be as many points for him just because there is more talent around him this year, but it's improving those skill sets. And then one other thing was would we be more excited to not have a football season because we could have a basketball season because we could be so good, or does football then, or would we be having football and just cancel basketball? I know I'm a basketball guy, so that's what goes in my head because this team is going to be really, really good.
You know the answer to that.
We'll have you back again. I thank you for coming in today. I'm going to let you get out of here. Your daughter's been great having to sit here and put up with us. Thank you very much. So, Mark, get out of here. We'll see you again soon. When we come back, Chuck and Jimmy and I will discuss a lot of UT football stuff, schedule, Jeremy Pruitt, a lot more. Come on back on the Sports Source.